Hey guys, it's Danny. Today I'm gonna take you along as we're gonna look at this particular shelf. And not only, I have some cool stuff to show you actually. I'm not sure how to title this video. There's no category for it, so yeah, I just want to show you some stuff and talk about some stuff. And look who decided to join us, which is Swan brand from Maya. She's always so very curious. Basically, I want to show you what's going on with the Laelias. I want to talk a little bit about the slim LED panels that I've been using for quite a few months, show you how the plants are working with it. By the way, it's great, spoiler. Some flower spikes that are really exciting, and an update on the little sick orchids that I ordered just a few months back. Anyway, it's gonna be a cool video. So get a beverage, get a snack if you're not wearing Invisalign, and let's get to it. Oh, and also don't forget to give this video a like if you end up enjoying it, and why not subscribe? I post 3 times a week. On with the show, I say. Okay, so first off, what is this shelf? It's an IKEA shelf. It's a very popular one as far as I can see with other plant YouTubers and Instagrammers. I do actually have a video on it. I'll put it down below in the description. It's on my second channel. It's a video in which I talk about the LED panels as well. And really, it's a beautiful setup. It's very suiting for homes because you usually care a little bit more about how things blend in and design in a home, right? Well, I find this to be a beautiful shelf. It is actually a glass shelf and it comes in 2 colors, black and white. Here in Europe, I can only find the black one. Anyway, you're gonna learn more about this shelf in that video. What I wanted to talk about is the LED panel system. Now these are, to my knowledge, the thinnest LED panels ever. They are advertised as being full spectrum, but they're white label. This means that there is a brand which bought a product, put a brand on it, and then they are reselling it. You'll find this product under many different brands actually. So yeah, it's a white label product. I'm not sure if it is full spectrum. It's also lacking quite a lot of blue. You can see the light is very red and yellow, and that's because if I turn down the exposure, you can see the LED lights are mainly yellow and red. Ooh, I got out of focus there. Okay, so there is no blue, or there's very little blue in this grow light. Reason why I decided to add 2 kitchen lights, as you can see here, which have a cooler light. It's not very cool, but definitely they have more blue. And well, to be honest, I'm not entirely sure if, ooh, let me set my camera back. Okay, so I'm not entirely sure if these kitchen lights were necessary because actually plants grew pretty well only under the LED panels. I had some, oh gosh, plants that I'm missing the name. I'll put it on the screen, those plants. Yeah, they grew beautifully under only the LED panels. And the orchids, well, I think you can see, they have quite a bit of red tinge on them. This is anthocyanin. It is created in bright light conditions. So bright is the light that I have there that I decided to move some orchids. These are some Vendacious orchids, and as you can see, they got a little bit way too red under the LED panels. So I decided to move them here. They are currently receiving natural light. I think it's a little bit more suited for them since they are actually pretty tall and they were very close to the LED panels. So I think they got a little bit way too red. But I find that the orchids which are not as tall and not as close to the panels are actually doing pretty great. And I'm gonna show you exactly how great they're doing because there are some surprises. If you didn't see her, ta-da! This is my first Rupicolous Laelias bloom. So if you guys are newer on my channel and you don't know the history with the Rupicolous Laelias, well, these are orchids that naturally grow in rocky environments. So growers always suggest you plant them in rocks. And well, I tried that and it kind of failed. It didn't work out so well. So at the end I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna put them in my usual setup with bark and sphagnum moss, and you know, I think it's gonna be just fine. And guess what? It was just fine. So fast forward almost a year later and I have my very first blooms on one of them, and it's one that I was not expecting to do so well because it seemed like the most finicky one out of all of them, but I was wrong. Don't judge a book by its covers, right? This is Laelia Lundi variety Cerulean, and by the looks of it, the flower is white, so there is a high chance it's mislabeled. and actually I have an alba variety, not a cerulean. Now usually the cerulean varieties, no matter the orchid, refer to the bluish color of the flower or part of the flower. In this case, this orchid should have had a sort of bluish lip, which I don't see any hint of. I'm seeing a pure white flower. So being that this is the first blooming of this orchid, I don't know, maybe it's not putting out its full potential. We're gonna see. It's a very young plant, or the plant is mislabeled and it's actually an alba variety, which I absolutely don't mind. I love white little flowers. I'm actually a sucker for it. It looks a little bit like a snowbell. Fun fact, alba in Latin means white, and actually in Romanian, alb would be the male adjective, like for male gendered nouns. It's weird to explain Latin grammar, but I'm trying. And alba is actually the female adjective, so for nouns which would be female. So in Latin, or at least in Romanian, let's put it like that, because, you know, Latin is an old language. All the other Romance languages derived from Latin, they evolved, they changed. But in Romanian, at least, the word orchid is a female noun. So when I say my girls, I have in mind the Latin grammar. So anyway, alba varieties refer to white flowered varieties, and they are the female adjective because the noun itself is female as well. That's all there is to it. It doesn't imply anything, actually. It doesn't imply that they have a gender or anything. It's how Latin grammar works, and it's not only Latin. Greek actually is kind of the same, but I know for a native English speaker this can be a little confusing because it's nothing like English. Well, if you know me, you know that I usually call my orchids he or she or things of the sorts, and that's because grammar, nothing else. But just for you guys to know, alba means white, but it's a female version of white. Alrighty, looks a little bit more natural, right? So the orchid actually has multiple buds. I was under the impression that each cane can produce one bud at the top. Maybe I just misinterpreted a little bit the pictures, or I just forgot the details. So you can see that this cane, or actually pseudobulb, produced one little bud or one flower. I have one here as well, but here at the back I have two. Look at that. So there are two little buds here. How neat is that? I'm not entirely sure if this type of Laelia produces one flower or multiple flowers. I think in the pictures it's very common to see one flower at the top of each pseudobulb. Anyway, it doesn't matter, just look how cute it is. And bonus, kept the best news for last. It's fragrant. I was not aware that these guys are fragrant, but this one is. It smells very, very sweet, like a sweet syrup, a little bit honey-like, but it's sweet. I love it. It smells in the daytime. I actually got requests from you guys for the past 2 or 3 years to try out Rupicolous Laelias. Took me a while, but there we have it. First little Laelia in bloom, and she's a beauty, but I do believe it's an alba variety rather than cerulean. The birdens are bathing, so if you hear noises, that's what's going on. They decided they're gonna give up their eggs, so they're gonna start to sing to each other and just be noisy generally, so prepare for some videos with bird songs. Alrighty, back to our orchids. I'm actually gonna film here because the light is quite a lot more natural. Some good news from the Trichopilia suavis, which I'm so excited I cannot tell you. So about a year and a little bit ago, I purchased this little orchid. It's my second Trichopilia. The first one did not do so great. It kind of withered off, but I don't think it was my fault. I think it was something with the orchid, maybe a virus. It did have some weird looking spots, not these. These are actually, if you can see, they're going away. It's a little dust that stuck to the leaf because of that sugary sap. Anyway, this is dirt, it's not spotting. So immediately I could tell that this one was very different, much more vigorous. It has a very good root system. It put out a new growth last year for me, and this year it started to create another new growth, which looked very, very, very similar to the previous new growth. And well, this year I can tell you with quite a lot of certainty that what we have here, my friends, is a flower spike with buds. I'm gonna give you some close-ups, but this morning I just happened to look at it a little better, and yes, it's absolutely a bud. I can see the individual buds inside that little sheath, so soon enough we're gonna have some beautiful white colored flowers. They're supposed to be fragrant as far as I know as well, so that makes me even more excited. I was really on the verge of purchasing more Trichopilias. My favorite eBay seller had a few for sale recently, but I wasn't exactly sure if I wanted to invest in them just yet. I kind of wanted to see how this one goes for me, if I can make it rebloom, if I have good enough conditions, and well, now you can be sure that I'm gonna order more of them because the flowers are gorgeous. If you Google it, you're gonna see what I'm talking about. So the way that I've cared for this orchid really isn't very different than my, let's say, norm for oncidiums. I kept it in pretty bright light, although I gave it more artificial light than natural light. I did not grow it outside in the heat, kept it in the grow room. It was warm in the summertime, but not very hot. Didn't give it a rest. I've continuously fertilized it because it is a continuous grower. I did water it just like an oncidium. It doesn't really like to stay dry. So pretty much I treated it like an oncidium, and hey presto, flowers. So I'm guessing that's a good culture for it. I will actually research and validate my findings a little bit with the Orchid Species website, see about its natural habitat and if it corresponds with my findings. And if it does, then hey presto, we got the care, and I can make a care tips a little tutorial for you guys soon. But yeah, good news with the Trichopilia. Very, very excited about this one. I cannot even begin to describe. But speaking about excitement, I have another one which is spiking at the moment, and I'm super excited about it. Hold on. Okay, this is the only one that we're gonna see today, I believe, which is not under those LED panels. This is the Dendrochilum wenzelii, or wenzelii, sorry. Again, in Latin, W is actually double V, which means we usually read it as a V. So anyway, besides the point, you may not see it, but this guy has a flower spike as well. Right here. I'm gonna, what? That's an alert call. What did you see? Maybe she saw a fly. Anyway, so I'm gonna give you a close-up. So far, I've discovered one flower spike. I'm hoping it will create more. It is actively growing at the moment. I see a lot of new growth on this plant, which is kind of tiny, but I don't see any other flower spikes at the moment. Hopefully it's not gonna be the only one, but if it is, it's okay. I do believe it's the first flowering of this plant. I have it for about a year or a little over a year. I have time to learn about it. But I have to say, this orchid has done beautifully. Let me show you a little bit the root system. There you go. It looks pretty great, as you can see. Very vigorous root-wise and also very vigorous leaf-wise. Absolutely adore the shape of the leaves and pretty much how this orchid looks like. I find it to be very decorative, especially if you like grass-type plants, which I personally do. But the best feature of the plant, of course, is when it's in bloom. These little flower spikes will transform into rattlesnake tail type of a shape, and it's going to be red. If you're gonna look for pictures, you're gonna see what I mean, or you can wait for my orchid to bloom. But I'm super excited to see it because then this guy will absolutely shine. Imagine this grass having beautiful arches of red little flowers. That sounds dreamy, doesn't it? Well, in pictures, it looks fabulous. So yeah, very exciting little development. Care-wise, I'm not entirely sure, again, because this one was treated pretty much in the same way. Everybody who's in the grow space pretty much all the time gets the same care, which is very similar to the oncidium care. Warmth, but not a lot of it. Quite a lot of water because these guys are thirsty, with the exception of the Phalaenopsis there. Everybody who's in the greenhouse is here because they're thirsty, and I cannot keep up with their thirst requirements outside. So he's thirsty. He likes brightish light. I did keep it in bright light, although on the internet you will see that culturally speaking, they're low light plants. It doesn't strike me as a low light plant for whatever reason. Maybe the terete looking like leaves, or I don't know. In my opinion, orchids that have needle-like leaves, they are growing in higher light. Maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, so I did give it pretty high light, a little against the articles because that's what it inspires me. And it did okay. We'll see about the blooming. So I guess we're gonna see this guy again when he will be in bloom, and fingers crossed we're gonna have more than one flower spike. Okay, back to the LED shelf. Oh, hi. Oh, both of them. Wow, okay. Hello. Yes, hello. I want to film how they kiss each other. It's so sweet, but you cannot. No, honey. But alas, you cannot force love. Okay, so back to the LED panel. A little while back, I purchased some orchids, which were not packed really well in my opinion. They were kind of wet, so most of them were lost, I'm sad to say, but there are a few that made it. So one is the Potinara Chianti Golden Boy. I was only able to save one single pseudobulb, and as you can see, no roots. Well, there might be a root or two now because it's been a while, but yeah, I doubt it. And well, as you can see, I do have a little growth sprouting right here at the base. But can you imagine the setback on this orchid? This growth will not be taller than that, or maybe half a centimeter taller, not more than that. So the setback is going to be real, but in the end, I just want this orchid to survive. It's the one that had the yellow leaves and multiple back bulbs already gone. So it is a bit of a miracle that I managed to save it, but yeah, she is okay. I staked it with a bamboo skewer, and PS, if you missed my video with all of the ways in which you can use a bamboo skewer, I'll link it to it down below. It's a fun video. And this is actually my most used tool in my collection. How about that? So I did stake it, but as you can see, my clip is not strangling the pseudobulb. It has two little plastic bumps. Oh no! Not one video without a fail. Well, at least we can see that there is no root. So, in case we were doubting, no, there is no root. Let's insert the orchid back, and I'm going to stake it again. So anyway, what I wanted to show you, this stake has two little plastic bumps. Do you see them? Well, I can make these bumps wrap or pinch the stake, and what happens is the clip doesn't close all the way, it stays partially open like this, which is what I want. I don't want it to pinch on my orchid. So I find this technique very suiting for very tiny orchids that need staking, but it would be awesome if you'd manage not to pinch them, right? There we go, we're good to go yet again. But hey, no roots confirmed, right? And now, surprise, surprise, do you remember one of the orchids had a black rot? And I did make a video on trying to save it, the video in which I showed you the full of algae Vanda as well. Well, she's still around, and more than that, I did see a little growth here. Okay, I'm not gonna touch it way too much because I'm pretty sure I'm clumsy enough to destroy something. Do you see that little piece of green there? Maybe I can remove this bark. Hold on, don't mess it up, don't mess it up. Okay, it actually looks good. Look at that, you guys. I was expecting this pseudobulb to create something, but no. I also remembered that I said in that video that I'm not sure this orchid has any more available eyes because all of them were kind of spent. Maybe the pseudobulb does not have an available eye, but it's okay because it can still transfer energy, and this back one, maybe it still had an available eye. So look at that, it has a new growth. Well, I'm not sure it's gonna make it still because it's too early, and if you watch the video, you're gonna see the severity of the case. What I'm sure of is that this orchid does not have any more black rot. If it had anything, in the last month, it would have shown it. No, I think we got rid of all of that black rot, which is great. You don't joke around with black rot, so if you don't know what I'm talking about, I just suggest you watch the video, because if you ever have to deal with it, you have to act super fast. It's an ailment, or actually an infection, that advances lightning fast. So one day to another, you will see the orchid being more and more affected. It's pretty much the difference between, yeah, savable and nope, you can throw it away. So do watch that video. I'm happy to say it's still around. I'm hoping it will be okay. Signs are encouraging, but oh boy, again, the wait, it will take forever. But it's okay, I'm gonna love these orchids even more. I tend to really prefer orchids that I have an attachment to or that I have history with. Am I the only one? Let me know. Okay, so that's about it for today. That's what I wanted to show you for today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and remember to check the description for additional videos that I might have mentioned in this video. So with that said, I hope you have a great week ahead. Subscribe to my channel for more orchid videos, tutorials, experiments, updates, and other fun orchid subjects. If you wish to support the channel, do consider becoming a member or visit the merch store linked down below in the description. You can also follow me on Instagram and Facebook Facebook. It's always nice to stay in touch there as well. And I'll see you all next time. Bye!